Let's start from this if that's fine with you.
Munta, yes, please. You ask questions, we just...
No, don't worry about it. Raising awareness about cancer शब्दलाई त्यो सुन्ने बित्तिकै के हैन आजको दिनमा त्यो डर बाहेक अरु केही पनि आउँदैन के इट्स लाइक that thing that's like त्यो बच्चामा हुन्थ्यो नि हामी हुँदा हैन भूत आउँछ भनेर तर्साउँथ्यो नि हैन यो गरिस् भने क्यान्सर लाग्ला त्यो गरिस् भने क्यान्सर लाग्ला यस्तो भयो भने क्यान्सर लाग्ला हुन्छ नि हैन but sometimes probably you're not going to do anything. You're going to avoid all the things that's going to get you probably this harmful disease, but you might just end up getting it.
Yeah, of course. When I had cancer, I thought I was living a relatively healthy lifestyle. Drink पनि धेरै गर्दिन थिए, maybe just socially. I didn't smoke. I was doing yoga 6-7 years. I thought I was living a relatively healthy life. Family history पनि छैन फेरि क्यान्सरको, let alone breast cancer. So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि when it happened, it was a total shock. Then I realized that because I asked questions and I said, किन भयो त मलाई यो? Like, why did it happen? Why me? Why? I have a healthy lifestyle. I'm young. That was my question. I was 32. So there is no reason. That's the medical mystery about cancer, They have identified a few things that may increase the risk of cancer, like family history, smoking, alcohol. Tara, they can't say for sure. Okay, I know people who've never smoked or never had a drink in their life will have lung cancer or any other kind of cancer, right?
Exactly.
So, bhannai sakidaina. It's really hard to say why it happens.
It comes out of nowhere, and then cancer does not take just you, but it goes ahead and consumes your family members?
Absolutely.
Is that true?
Yes, it is. It really does. Your family member, your close friends as well, who know you personally, it consumes everyone. Personally, I keep repeating this. Cancer is a very lonely disease, because only if the other person's had cancer, you tend to connect to each other because you know the depth of the issue, the pain, the unforgiving treatments, Tara family lai pani ele consume garcha because, like you said, cancer भन्ने बित्तिकै it's like cancer equals death. And so everybody just thinks cancer हुने बित्तिकै like मैले पनि doctorलाई I asked the doctor, I was like, am I going to die भनेर? The first thing I asked the doctor when he said, you have stage 2 grade 3 invasive carcinoma भन्ने बित्तिकै म त that was my question. So I didn't even say will I live? That's like a positive way of asking ni ta, तर I was like, am I going to die? So I think that's what we know of cancer so far. Okay? And you hope ani धेरै जनाहरु cancer ले गर्दाखेरि it's a very gruesome and difficult experience to go through, So people some unfortunately don't survive. तर the chances of survival what it used to be 20-30 years ago अहिले is very very high. So if you get an early diagnosis and if you are well aware of your body and changes in your body, then you can really be on top of it, I think.
Yeah. One of the things that you mentioned, which was, मैले कुनै symptomai पाइनँ भनेर हैन? No symptoms.
No symptoms. No symptoms. म नुहाउन जाँदाखेरि बाथरुममा आफूलाई हेर्दाखेरि I was like, something's off. मेरो breastमा. I didn't know if it was left or right or if it was under the lymph nodes. So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि I had no idea. So I actually was like, something's off. Like I need to go see someone. And then I asked my husband. He's like, no, I think you're just being paranoid. Ani doctorलाई भेट्न गएँ. Doctorले, it could be hormonal. I don't see any symptoms. Breast specialist sametले, it could be hormonal, but let's just get an ultrasound to put your mind at ease भनेर, So ultrasound ले गर्दा के पनि देखेन. So the ultrasound specialist was like, I'm going to get a sample. Is that okay? I'll do a biopsy भनेर भन्यो. So I was like, yeah, sure. And it was actually the biopsy that confirmed that it was cancer. Ani biopsy लिइसकेपछि चाहिँ because biopsy मा चाहिँ they put a needle through your skin and take a piece of your skin out, अनि त्यो लिइसकेपछि चाहिँ I had to wait over the weekend and go see the doctors on Monday or Tuesday. Ani that is when I actually felt the lump. But before that I never felt anything. That's because apparently the cancer cells are such that if it's been poked or disturbed, they freeze up and they harden. So stiff भइदिन्छ. So त्यसपछि चाहिँ I could feel it. तर त्योभन्दा अगाडि चाहिँ there was no lump, no dimpling, no discharge, no issues on my skin or I was feeling totally healthy. त्यो के पनि थिएन. So it was just my gut feeling and the fact that I was like, okay, no, something's off. I want to just make sure that I'm not paranoid or I'm not, because I know my body best. I know when something is wrong, something's off. So, and I'm glad I listened to that.
Exactly. Sixth sense भन्ने के भन्ने होला हैन. That's why we constantly talk about screening गर्नुपर्छ भनेर हैन. Like if you had to suggest somebody right in the beginning of this conversation, screening गर्नुपर्छ जुन हामी भन्छौँ नि हैन, what would be like the best thing that somebody could do who is listening at the moment, regardless of the age?
Right. I think the best thing to do is to check yourself every month, हैन. The best time they say to check your breast is after your periods, because then it's quite sensitive, right? So after your periods, you should check your breast bhancha. Tara people don't always remember. So globally, it's said it's the first of the month. Every first of the month, you check your breast. अनि there's a certain technique to check it हैन, किन त्यो मलाई breast cancer हुनुभन्दा अगाडि मलाई त्यो पनि थाहा थिएन हैन. So there are lots of YouTube videos you can go and watch yourself to see कसरी check गर्ने भनेर. अनि कस्तो पनि हुँदो रहेछ भने फेरि what I would say is that just because today you see a small lump or something in your skin, it's not necessarily cancer हैन. You just keep an eye out. You just make sure that it's okay. But if you're very paranoid, you go and see a doctor, and then if everything's okay, then you just keep an eye out. So you just see how it changes, or if it may never change as well. So just to keep yourself healthy and mindful, just do the check at home. And if you're the kind of person who's over a certain age group, then mammogram regularly the गर्ने पर्छ, medical doctors पनि भन्नुहुन्छ, suggest गर्नुहुन्छ. So I think that's just what I would tell everybody to do at home. अनि अर्को कुरा है, breast cancer can happen to men as well.
Yeah.
And it's a very small number, but it can, because a lot of people I talk to are quite surprised by that fact. Okay? And talking about numbers, in the US and Europe, they say 1 in 2 people in their lifetime will have some sort of cancer, because right now the numbers are quite staggeringly high. Tara with Asia and Southeast Asia, that number is a little different.
It's slightly lower?
Slightly lower.
Yeah.
It's a lot lower. Tara at the same time, the numbers are increasing. Diagnosis पनि भइरहेछ हैन. So people are actually, they have an option that breast दुख्यो भने के गर्ने. पहिला त्यो options थिएन नि त धेरै. So maybe they were never being diagnosed or getting any option of treatment. तर अहिले त भइरहेछ, so people know about it. So it's just
it just
happened.
It just happened. It just happened. And then here we are after battling it out. How many years did it take you to battle it out?
So my treatment process was about 8 to 9 months. Treatment matra 6-7 महिना chemotherapy थियो. 1 महिना जति मलाई almost 2 महिना जति लाग्यो surgery पछि recover गर्नलाई. अनि त्यसपछि 7-8 महिना chemotherapy. अनि 1 महिना जति radiotherapy. अनि treatmentहरू सकिसकेपछि it took me another year before I actually started feeling better. किन chemotherapy or radiotherapy को extended side effects पनि हुन्छ. So I was telling you earlier that my nails fell off as well, which I had never experienced before. I was putting on a shirt and then I just saw something fly off and I didn't know what it was. And then slowly I lost all of them. And
so sorry.
And then that's okay. And then so that was like almost 2 months after I had ended my treatment. So त्यो extended पनि हुन्छ के side effects which carries on for a long time. So before you gain strength, before you feel a little bit back to normal, whatever normal is, because now it's a new normal, right? That you have to get used to, looking at a different body, getting used to some sort of lack of abilities, like मैले गरुङको कुराहरू बोक्न सक्दिनँ, धेरै लामो टाइमको लागि यो हात केही गरेर युज गर्न सक्दिनँ, झन्झन आउँछ हैन, सर्जरीहरू भइसकेपछि. So all of that limitations to sort of know, acknowledge, it takes a long time. अनि मलाई त झन् अझ मेरो cancer treatment सकेको 3 वर्षपछि I started having anxiety and I was scared I was going to go into depression. And that's apparently very normal for people who go through cancer to experience anxiety and depression 3 to 5 years or even 10 years after your treatment has ended.
The fear that it might come back again?
No, just that what had happened, because treatment ko belama चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने you're so busy and occupied with what to do next and what's happening and all of that, you don't really get time to think and then to process it, and then you're done, and then your hair grows back, you begin to look normal again, and people ko response pani hey, so what's next, what are you going to do now, and then you're like, I have no idea, I've never thought about that. So everything else around you is moving at this fast pace, but you're sort of stuck trying to adapt to that new you and change. So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि त्यो mismatch हुँदो रहेछ के. त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ a lot of people go through this afterwards.
Let me track back अलिकति है.
Sure.
Born in Kathmandu, raised in Kathmandu itself,
yes.
And then you went to the US, if I'm just going to recap a little bit, and then you moved to the UK, and you got married, moved to the UK, if I'm not mistaken.
I got married, I lived in India for a few years, and then moved to the UK.
Then moved to the UK, yes. I'm just putting it out here, you can rephrase my sentence, a happy-go-lucky life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then one day, it halts.
Yeah.
From the book, the gist that I got, it just stopped.
Yeah. It totally stops. Everything changes. Your life just goes upside down, just with that one, information that you get saying you have cancer. It's so powerful that, you literally collapse and you think there is no option, Tara, बिस्तारै त्यसपछि चाहिँ I realized that there is an option, there is a way out, there is that's why what I like to say is that during my treatments treatments भन्दा I like to say it was more of like a healing process. I like to look at it that way because हामी चाहिँ if you notice this, we tend to associate a lot of terms around cancer as like a war, okay? War against cancer, or she's a survivor, and, this is a battle against cancer. So all of these powerful and strong words that we use really has an impact on us, okay? Then we feel like we're the ones who are losing. But you shouldn't feel like you're losing. You're just in a different path where you're healing. So I think that change in attitude and that change in your perspective towards your life, whatever that may be, after cancer, is what really helps anybody recover, have more of a stable life. And I think, like you said, it not only impacts you, but your whole family. And that has a ripple effect within your family and your friends as well. So I think it's a very powerful mindset that I discovered during cancer.
I spoke with a friend of mine, who had family members go through lung cancer. म त्यतिमै छोडिदिन्छु अनि रातिसँगै बस्दाखेरि चाहिँ के हुँदो रहेछ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ ऊ चाहिँ युज टु स्टे विथ हिज फ्यामिली मेम्बर अनि बाबु एउटा दबाई मात्र पाए पनि हुन्थ्यो जुन दबाई एउटा मात्र दबाई खाएर चाहिँ यो ठिक भइदियो हुन्थ्यो नि है भन्ने हुन्थ्यो कि लाइक अ म्याजिक पिल त्यो चाहिँ उहाँले धेरैचोटि कन्सटेन्टली कुरा गर्नुभएको रहेछ कि त्यसको बारेमा कि एउटा मात्र दबाई भइदियो हुन्थ्यो नि त्यो किमोको बिचमा पनि मैले यो सुन्ने अनि त्यसपछि अलिकति टुवर्ड्स द लेटर पार्ट अफ द पर्सन्स लाइफ एज वेल त्यो एउटा चाहिँ मैले कन्सटेन्टली सुन्थेँ कि हुन्छ नि लाइक माई फ्रेन्ड टेलिङ मी द्याट तैँले पनि यही कुरा हुन्छ भनेर कि एउटा दबाई पाइदियो हुन्थ्यो भनेर कि त्यो द्याट स्टक विथ मी के द्याट कन्सटेन्टली स्टक विथ मी हुन्छ नि एउटा पिल पाइदियो हुन्थ्यो भनेर हुन्छ नि Did you ever go through a moment in your life where you were like, okay, let's just get rid of this?
Absolutely. So many moments. Cancer treatment go through ma, I would say that I had a lot of down time and I had a lot of up moments as well. Tara, whenever I was down, physically, mentally, emotionally, I would literally just be like, just end this. I can't take it anymore. Just stop everything. Like after every chemo, I would say, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going back to the hospital. I'm not going back. And, but once I got better, ani alikata time pass bhayo, I was like, let's do this.
Yeah.
Why not? I'm going to kick cancer's ass, right? I'm not going to let it define me. it's under my control bhanera त्यो त्यस्तो attitude पनि आयो. But of course anybody who goes through cancer goes through crazy emotional turmoil हैन. I still do. I still have moments कहिले काहीँ random moments where I'm just sort of like it just ties me down. But that is a part of life, and that's part of being positive and acknowledging that this has happened to you, but you have overcome this, and you know your future is what you're looking towards and not the past. Although the past does define your future, tara to look forward and to look out straight ahead is what I think is very important.
Yeah.
So every moment, every time, every moment, every day I woke up, I remember, you know, in that state where you're almost awake but you're not awake, I would literally like close my eyes and be like, let it be a dream. Let me just wake up and not have cancer. Like, let me just wake up and not have cancer. त्यो नभइदियो हुन्थ्यो मलाई भनेर भन्ने हुन्थ्यो कि I had that moment all the time.
Yeah. Very, very similar to त्यसैले मैले अघि नै भनेको थिएँ because it consumes your family members and your loved ones too, okay? Because you're constantly like hoping that it's going to go away, it's going to go away. But certain cancers do not.
No.
They do not go away.
Yeah.
Once you have it, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but once you have it, it just comes back.
Yeah.
I wish it never did. I wish there was a magic pill.
Yeah.
I wish there was a magic pill.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe down the road, maybe in the future. But
let's hope.
Let's hope. What exactly is chemotherapy?
So chemotherapy भनेको चाहिँ के हो भने it's you either are given a tablet or it's done through your veins, liquid औषधि दिन्छ, which basically kills your good and bad cells.
Yeah.
So that's why you lose all your hair, because your hair follicles like मार्दिन्छ, so your hair falls out, nails हरूको पनि follicles जान्छ, that's why they fall out. So के हुन्छ भने अब जस्तो I had right breast cancer and I did a mastectomy. मलाई चाहिँ I was 32, मेरो stage relatively early नै हो, stage 2 पनि हैन. So त्यो surgery भइसकेपछि doctors said I was cancer free. तर because of my age and also because of the fact that you may never know that a tiny cancer cell could have left that part of the body and just gone through the bloodstream or somewhere in another part of the body. So त्यो risk नलिनको लागि they did chemotherapy to sort of flush out everything. And unfortunately that these drugs were sort of created at the beginning for people who were older. So they are a lot stronger for younger people. But the younger generations, the younger people sort of recover quicker because of their age. And older मान्छेहरुलाई त्यति धेरै गाह्रो हुँदैन chemotherapy, but it's a lot more riskier for them as well. So that's chemotherapy. And chemotherapy ni different हुन्छ. Different doses, different strength, different time frame, different. So depending on the type of cancer and the or whatever, doctors already decide गर्नुहुन्छ. मैले चाहिँ एउटा FECT भनेर ल्याएको थिएँ औषधि, 3 months of one and then the rest 3 of another, and it all went through my veins. अनि it took about 2 to 3 hours. अनि instantly the केही पनि हुँदैन, but it's like later on where you sort of start feeling the medicine work.
Was that the worst?
For me, chemotherapy was the worst.
That's what I've heard from other friends.
Yes. Worse than, having an implant and a fake breast. Worse than that. And for a woman, your body, your hair, your face, your breasts are so important, Nita. त्यसले गर्दाखेरि even worse than that. That's just chemotherapy was really bad.
Sorry,
for me.
making you recollect.
No, that's okay. Oh, that's okay.
I've heard the same from a lot of friends, who have had family members who go through it, and that's like the worst thing because they can't even. They constantly say that म बस्नै सक्दिनँ म कसरी, because helpless feel हुन्छ भनेर भन्थ्यो के.
You can't do anything.
You can't do anything.
You can't do anything. You want to help them, but there's just nothing you can do. So that's, I think, why families feel a lot more helpless. And that's also why I say cancer is a very lonely disease, is because even though they want to understand and they perhaps understand, but they don't understand to that degree, or to that level. So it's really it's a very lonely and a very emotionally and mentally tiring process. So it's also very important to not lose track of yourself and surround yourself with the right people, do things that you love, protect yourself. Because I think one of the things that I realized after cancer was that I prioritized myself. Maybe it sounds selfish, but I gave that priority to me. Like I had an aunt who used to like call गर्ने बित्तिकै घुवा घुवा रुन थाल्ने के. She just would hear my voice and just घुवा घुवा रुन थाल्ने. So I was like, okay, I don't think I want to talk to you anymore. I'm sorry. Like I know she loves me so much that that's the result of it. तर if I keep at this, then म नै रोको छैन त्यसरी घुवा घुवा. If she does, then it's just going to put me in a wrong sort of mental state, right? So I protected myself. I didn't speak with her for a long time. I watched a lot of comedy shows. I listened to lots of great music that made me feel better. I did journaling. I took proper steps to sort of be positive, as they say, right? So I mean, because I think people say, oh, just be positive, right? And that's not really right. That's really just to me, I feel like it's the lamest thing you can say, right? But being mindful, being aware of what you're going through, being aware of the fact that you have emotions and it's okay to cry. It's okay to laugh about certain things as well. It's okay to go through those emotional turmoils, but at the same time, have a positive outlook. Is very important. So त्यस्तै लाग्छ मलाई affect गरे पनि it's an interesting healing process and journey.
What did you say to yourself constantly to remind yourself that you have to overcome this and get out of this?
Initially I was like, I have to do this for my parents, for my loved ones. तर पछि गएर चाहिँ I sort of was like, मैले केही गल्ती गरेको छैन. I just maybe sort of had this because I have the capacity to be strong. Pity, you won't know how strong you are until and unless you're put in that crazy situation. Regardless of cancer or not, only when you're in adversity, you know what strength you have. So your potential. So I was like, maybe I have that potential. And I was mostly okay rather than not okay during this journey. So I was always telling myself that, even the doctors were like, okay, you know what, this is only for some time. I know the treatment feels really long, but just hang in there. After a few years, you're going to think that the treatment was very short. And that's how I feel right now. I felt so long. Malai 6 महिनाको लागि एउटा injection लिन पर्यो every day at the same time. I felt that was eternity. I thought like yatro bhandama I used to put syringes and give it back to the hospital. Blood thinners लिन पर्यो थियो because I had a clot. So it felt like eternity. I was like so upset. And I was like, sakidaina. And I was so upset. But I look back and I'm like, it was such a short period of time. 8 years now. So, त्यो पनि हुँदो रहेछ. So I think just surrounding yourself with good people who support you. Say that people who say the right things, because sometimes you can.
There are people who are gonna just tell you, just gonna feel sorry for you, or just tell you that about the like you're sorry to say, talk about your aunt, but she's crying.
Yeah,
I know, but it is demoralizing. How to surround yourself with the right people, not just when you have something like cancer, but just to surround you with the right people. Yeah, because that's the key. Just if you can surround yourself with the right people.
I have always felt that they're always honest and they're always there to support. And मलाई चाहिँ cancer it was a good way to sort of flush out people from my life. I was fortunate enough to find that helped. तर I had people say all the wrong things to me, and मैले किताबमा पनि लेखेको छु के what not to say भनेर. Somebody came to me and said, तिम्रो कर्मको फल होला यो त, अब भइहाल्यो, अब ठिकै छ नि त.
आफ्नै नजिकैको मान्छे.
Yeah. And I was just like seriously. And I had people say things like, तिमीले बच्चा नपाएर होला, बिहा गर्ने बित्तिकै बच्चा पाउनु पर्थ्यो, पहिले बिहा गर्न पर्थ्यो. And then to them, my answer now is like, I spent all my chemotherapies with a girl who was 19 years old. I know she had cancer as well. She had breast cancer as well. So I'm like, what about her?
Yeah.
She should get married when she's 16. You know, like how is that justified? So I think हाम्रो especially नेपालीहरूको बानी चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ भने they show love through worrying, okay? And that's the way that, and sometimes it doesn't come across right. And it's very painful. Somebody told me to go look for a certain kind of fruit. त्यो fruit खायो भने क्यान्सरलाई राम्रो हुन्छ भनेर हैन. And I went and I looked and I ate it and it just wasn't, it didn't sit well with me. So I think अनि मान्छेहरूले ए तिमी यस्तो गर तिमी उस्तो गर अनि, and it's like they have so much to say without having gone through cancer at all, okay? And that is where
सल्युशन्सहरु दिने
अनि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ म त बिलिभ पनि गरेँ फेरि at some point, तर I had to sort of stop myself and be like, okay, read online medical journals, not just Wikipedia and random Google stuff, हैन? Because that all cancer equals death is back there again.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
So I think to be able to find the right journals, medical journals, to go and speak with your doctor, त्यस कारण medical team सपोर्टिभ र राम्रो हुन धेरै जरुरी रहेछ कि किन मैले यति धेरै क्वेसन्स सोध्थेँ मेरो डक्टर्सहरूलाई रिसाउँदा पनि रिसाउँदो हुन्न थियो एन्ड देन ही युज टु आन्सर अल द क्वेसन्स फर मी होइन सो आई थिङ्क द्याट इज भेरी इम्पोर्टेन्ट बिकज आधाभन्दा धेरै टेन्सन त्यहीँबाट कम हुन्छ कि वेन अ डक्टर एन्ड मेडिकल टिम इज सपोर्टिभ युर अलरेडी हाफ बेटर सो आई थिङ्क द्याट्स भेरी इम्पोर्टेन्ट
There's one thing that I wanted to just ask you. Let's straight up, right?
Yes,
you don't have to answer. It's totally up to you. Right? When you are at a stage of your life, जिन्दगीको यस्तो मोडमा हुन्छ जहाँ के हुन्छ थाहा छैन हैन, you might not make it at all.
Yeah.
Right? You might not make it at all. हैन बिहान उठ्दाखेरि you might not be around at all.
Yeah.
Do you look for a higher power? Did you look for a higher power?
I did.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. And okay, I have faith. I'm religious. Mandir janchu. Tara त्यतिखेर it was trying to find anything, higher power, spiritual power, whatever there is.
Somebody gives you a pill, you're ready to take that too.
Yes. You are, because you're in such a vulnerable and a desperate situation. Okay, so yes, at one point भगवानसँग रिस उठ्थ्यो पनि किन मलाई यस्तो गरेको मैले कहिले के नराम्रो गरेको छु र or something like that, right? Because we associate that whole कर्मको कुरा when somebody says something like that to you. So then you realize that those are just some unnecessary negative feelings that sort of crop up, and it does, no matter how much you try to stop it. So hunsa higher power dekhi liera, and then trying to look for other doctors or everything possible. You land up I landed up sort of doing everything that I could.
डोरो बान्नु देखि लिएर सबै
थोक के अरे चिना देखाउनेदेखि लिएर
त्यो पनि गरे हो चिना पनि देखायो
सबै देखाएर पुरा आफ्नो हुन्छ नि त्यो सबै देखाएर सो I think that's just all a part of the process.
The part of the process, right? How do you feel now?
I feel great.
Doing everything, trying out everything at the moment. What do you think really worked at the end of the day?
I think at the end of the day, my own mental state was what worked, nothing else. External factors are very important huncha haina. So like I said, having a good supportive family and friends. I had friends who would just message me saying, I love you.
Yeah.
Right? Or just saying, we're thinking of you. And there were friends who didn't say anything at all. And then there were friends who said, I don't know what to say, but let me know if I can come and help. And that was so much better than saying all the wrong things. Okay? So just being honest with somebody is so much better. So I think external factors pani depends, I am mostly okay because of the pharmaceutical drugs, because of chemotherapy and radiotherapy. Tara at the same time, if you're not mentally strong, then your recovery process and your the healing process in the future is quite difficult as well.
Yeah, the mental state, that's what I was trying to get into. Okay?
Yeah.
Last month, I love saying this, all the heavens and universe are within us, right?
Yes.
And if you do not keep your mental state right, कसैलाई गाह्रो परिरहेछ भने not just I'm not just sticking with cancer, right?
Yeah,
if somebody's going through a tough time in their life, and then if they try to go ahead and flush out the toxic people out of their life, that I think, is that one of the first steps that you should do?
Oh yes. Absolutely. Like after cancer, literally, isto second May, malai ta all the things that mattered at that time didn't matter anymore. It literally was like such a crazy shift, I know. And I guess that's one thing cancer taught me, okay?
Yeah.
How to just listen to yourself and not let small little things worry. Because I was a worrier before. कोही साथी मसँग कुरा गरेन मलाई मन दुख्थ्यो हैन, or somebody said something, I would take it personally. अहिले त I'm just like, it's not important because my health is important, I'm important, my family is important, my फेरि अब अहिले I have a daughter, हैन, so she's important. So I think all of those things that we worried about earlier and the people we worried about just sort of faded out. And now I'm so grateful that I meet and I hang out with just a small group of true friends and families and it's so much better, okay? Because you don't need to be someone else. You can be yourself, or even if you are not in touch with them for a very long time, you meet and then that chemistry is there and that connection is there, okay?
Yeah.
And that is what's more important.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, isn't
Yeah.
it? Surrounding yourself with the right people, man. Other cancer survivors, were you in touch at that time?
During my treatment,
yeah.
No. I didn't want to be in touch with anybody.
Okay.
I didn't want to sort of expose myself to what they were going through. Right? So it was my
Defense,
protective mechanism, how I sort of protected myself. But at the same time, I was, trying to read a lot of things online to get information. Cancer ko journey sakisakepachi चाहिँ then I started being in touch with people who had cancer to talk to them. And फेरि again, I was very fortunate. I was in London, your treatment हुँदाखेरि, and there's a program called Someone Like Me. And त्यो चाहिँ it's only for cancer patients, okay? So कस्तो गर्छ भने, if you ever are in any doubt or whatever it is, you can call a number. अनि त्यो नम्बरमा कल गर्यो भने चाहिँ they take a basic background of your cancer history, हैन, के भइरहेछ, कुन स्टेजमा छौ, what's your age, what race, everything, and they try to match it with another person who survived cancer, who has a similar case. And then that person, totally confidential, calls you back. And you can always discuss something with them which you have a doubt, or even mental state as well, so त्यो program थियो, and I used that program a few times, I know. And then I started being a part of a few groups where there were other women who had survived cancer. That helped me recover as well. त्यो was the time when it was 3 years after my treatment, and I told you I was getting anxious and I was almost depressed. So I think त्यो बेलामा चाहिँ I was like, I need to do something about it. So that's when I met people, and I sort of attended a program, where they actually explained everything of what I was going through and how it was not uncommon. So the fact that you feel that, oh, this is not just me, म मात्र होइन कि अरूहरू पनि लाई यस्तै हुँदो रहेछ भनिसकेपछि पनि you don't feel so lonely. You feel like, hey, it's okay, then my feelings and my emotions are justifiable भनि जस्तो लाग्दो रहेछ के. So त्यो भन्नु, that gives you a little bit of a, okay, I'm okay.
When आफूले चाहिँ भन्दा होइन, म नेपालको त्यो युकेको कुरा भयो होइन, यहाँ त्यो अघि नैको त्यो डेटा भनिहाल्छु है होइन. Each year more than 15,000 Nepali women were diagnosed with breast cancer भनेर यो डेटा छ होइन. So this data is from kccrc.org, होइन. Okay, so this is, okay, yeah, so cancer hospital. So एक हिसाबले भन्नुपर्दाखेरि होइन, यहाँ के रहेछ त, यहाँको बारेमा के, are you in touch with anybody here? Do you know anything about how things are here?
I am. I know a little bit about treatment. मैले यहाँ गरे होइन, so I don't know much, but the cancer treatment, the medical teams are improving, and they're very good medical teams around, होइन. Cancer treatment गर्ने hospitals पनि राम्रो छ अहिले. But I think the support from the government and the whole general sort of awareness is lacking, के अझै. So I think this whole wanting to distance people, generally people like मान्छेलाई कस्तो लाग्छ भने क्यान्सर हो भनिसकेपछि म त्यो I don't want to listen to that, it's too emotional, too दिक्क लाग्ने खालको हुन्छ नि. So they try to distance themselves from that. So त्यो त्यो नगरेर if we can sort of raise awareness and talk about this, talk about breast cancer. This is Pink October. October is the breast cancer awareness month, you know. So if we can talk about it, we can talk to kids, we can talk to our family members about something like this. I think will eventually help. I started talking about it, I know, and मेरो एउटा एकजना so my close cousins and friends were like, do you mind if we share your story with others? And I was like, please do. And one of my cousins shared a story with her friend, and her friend went and checked herself, and she found a lump. And she went to see a doctor. It was not cancerous, but it could have, so she now needs to monitor very regularly, just so it doesn't become cancerous. तर त्यो भयो हैन. So that was what, you know, I that is what I'm aiming to do here, you know, and I want people to be aware. I want people to talk about it. I want people to be body positive. I want them to be comfortable in their own skin so they can look at their own skin, feel it, see how it's different. So if there is something that's worrying to them, they can go and see a doctor. हैन. सो त्यो गर्न चाहिँ जरुरी छ के. अनि हाम्रो कल्चरमा त झन् अझ स्तनको बारेमा कुरा हुँदैन, you know. There are so many things that we think is taboo to talk about, and so it makes it uncomfortable for someone who's going through pain or some symptoms as well to approach someone else के. त्यो भएको भए हुनाले चाहिँ I think it's very important to sort of break that barrier, that cultural taboo.
I just wanted to mention this, हैन. पोस्टकोमा रहेछ है एक्स है. प्रधानमन्त्री प्रचण्डले चाहिँ के अनाउन्स गरेका रहेछन् भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो चाहिँ मार्च 12 को कुरा रहेछ हैन. द गभर्नमेन्ट वुड प्रोभाइड फ्री ट्रिटमेन्ट टु people suffering from cervical and breast cancer भनेर चाहिँ यो कुरा चाहिँ निकालेको रहेछ गभर्नमेन्टले हैन. फ्युचर टु मिनिमाइज द deaths from preventable cancer भनेर हैन गर्न चाहिँ खोजेर रहेछ हैन. यो पनि हेरेको थिएँ मैले केही समय अगाडि हैन. गर्न प्रयास गरेर रहेछ, तर लाइक यु सेड त्यो प्रयास चाहिँ अलि क्याटलिस्टको रूपमा चाहिँ अवेरनेस अझ गर्न सकियो भने चाहिँ इट्स इभन बेटर.
And I think there is a lot of issues getting to that fund as well, right, for people. There are lots of criterias, problems to receive that fund. So अझै मान्छेहरू गाह्रो हुन्छ, you know, and cancer is a very expensive treatment. Very, very expensive. त्यसले गर्दाखेरि I think emotional, financial pressure धेरै गाह्रो पर्छ. गभर्नमेन्टले सपोर्ट गरेछ, तर it's not enough. I think we need to do more. मलाई चाहिँ कस्तो लाग्छ भने anytime we talk about cancer, we don't what we forget is, okay, cancer ko lagi ta funding diyo, tara how can we promote healthy lifestyle so we can you know, work on healthy people who don't get diagnosed itself, you know. So I think the funding should go towards that. The funding should be on awareness, on, you know, like eating right, on healthy lifestyle. So I think instead of like curable funding, it's more preventative. It's focusing on preventative care.
Suvekchya, I can talk about this for like a couple of days हैन. 2-4 दिनसम्म कुरा गर्न सक्छु हैन. मैले यिनीहरूलाई यतिचोटि भनिसकेँ कि हैन, basic things like just make sure that a person puts a helmet if they are sitting behind a motorcycle.
Yep.
We'll save so many different lives. So many lives, men and women, kids too. Right, that's one small little thing that we can do. I call it very small little thing that we can do, you know? But it makes a huge impact, right? Smoking, for instance, like I was mentioning ahead, you know? मैले 15 वर्षमा भनौँ न तान्तुन गरेर हैन, 15 वर्षमा खाएँ होला, हजारौं लाखौं चुरोट खाइसकेँ होला हैन. I probably have some shit going on already in my lungs, and most probably, right? I've already fucked up my lungs by now, हैन. But I don't want somebody who is 16 to pick up a pack of cigarettes now. As त्यो बच्चाले 16 वर्षको बच्चाले चुरोट अहिले उठायो भने मैले त 15 मा सुरु गरे हैन, 15-16 मा सुरु गरे. अबको बच्चाले त गर्नु भएन नि त हैन. So like you mentioned, right, if you can just prevent that and one kid doesn't pick up a cigarette, that kid probably might not die of cancer. That's something that we can bring to us,
yes.
Not like what you went through in anywhere. This was something that you never imagined that's ever going to happen. अब चुरोट तान्यो भने त क्यान्सर त हुन्छ नि त, चान्सेस त छ नि त हैन. So that's exactly what I advocate as well, and I'm glad that you advocate the same, because prevention is better than cure at the end of the day, right? And if you can create more parks and more spaces where people can go out and at least even walk. Kathmandu जस्तो ठाउँमा, काठमाडौँको मात्र कुरा गरेँ मैले हैन. We could definitely go out and change the next generation of
Yeah.
of kids.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, I can talk about this for hours.
Yes.
Food. Let me pick up your book, la. क्यान्सर खानपान र म छ खानपान छ नि त यहाँ फेरि ठुलो होइन होइन अब यो अङ्ग्रेजीमा त करी छ होइन नेपालीमा खानपान लेखिएको छ होइन Tell us a little bit about the खानपान the curry section of your book.
Sure. So यो कहाँबाट आयो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ मैले एकचोटि किमोथेरापी गरेर बेलामा 23-24 औषधि खाइरहेको थिएँ in one go, like a fistful of colorful pharmaceutical drugs down my throat all at once, and they were all because I needed them for some sort of side effects के कसैलाई side effects हुँदैन त्यो औषधि खानु पर्दैन हैन but for me I was taking them because I had a lot of side effects अनि at some point I was like this has to stop. I mean this is ridiculous, right? Like so I was taking tablets banta आउने खालको nausea भयो भने लिने or skin rash or constipation or you know like skin gas आउने or anything like, right? There were some mild symptoms, but they were still sort of a part of this whole the program, the whole package. So I was like, okay, this has to stop. So what can I do about it, right? So I started talking to my grandmother. I started talking to my grand aunt, my mother, and I was like, हजुरले वाक्क आउँदा के गर्नुहुन्थ्यो or मलाई भातै खान मन लाग्दैन or I can't you know do anything about it. So what did you do? ए ज्वानोको झोल ट्राई गर or अदुवा सुकाएर अदुवा बिरे नुनमा चोपेर खाऊ or do something भन्नुभयो अनि मैले त्यो ट्राई गरेँ. Why not, right? It doesn't have any side effects. So natural हो हाम्रो घरमा दराजमा भएको कुरा हो. I tried it and it helped. And I you know slowly from 23 I came down to 14 औषधि हैन 14 medicines 23बाट 14 so literally around 10 कम भयो हैन मेरो अनि this was well discussed with the medical team है मैले इन्फर्म गरिरहेको थिएँ medical team लाई and the doctors were like if you don't experience a side effect you don't have to take the medicine. So if you're feeling okay, if you're not feeling nauseated today, you don't need to take the anti-nausea medicine. Or if your eye is not too dry, you don't need to take the eye drops or any medicine that's associated to eye drops. So त्यो भनेर भन्या भावनाले चाहिँ मैले I was like हाम्रै किचनमा यत्रो धेरै औषधि रहेछ. Why have we lost touch? Why we're living in such a fast-paced world. We have so much of expectations and pressure on ourselves, and on top of that we have lost track of the traditional way of eating, cooking, of what to eat, when to eat. We've lost track of that, okay? And that is when I started doing research and I went sort of back in time and started reading like why is cast iron so much better to cook in, or के रे तोरीको तेल किन हामी नेपालमा धेरै खान्छौँ or के रे क्वाटी किन खान्छौँ जनै पूर्णिमामा or you know like नेपाली खानामा धेरै हेर्नु भने गोलबेडा हुँदैन. That's because it was bought in from Europe, right? So there are so many food that are seasonal. अहिलेसम्म त हामी नेपालमा luckily seasonal food खान्छौँ हैन आउँछ. तर we are also leaning towards processed food, के?
Yeah, way much towards processed food.
Way much towards processed food, हैन? अनि so eating whole food, seasonal food has so much health benefit that people are not aware of, हैन? अब जस्तो हाम्रो फापरकै कुरा गरौँ न, we've forgotten to, you know, we've lost track. अहिले मात्र हामी you know restaurant जाँदा or somewhere जाँदा ढिँडो खान्छौँ or you know we eat but we've forgotten about that, के? It used to be a part of a daily household kitchen पहिला हैन अहिले त हुँदैन.
Urban setting मा त छँदै
अहिले छैन. So I think we've forgotten that. So we've forgotten the benefit of, you know, what these grains can do to us, what these legumes can do to us, what these spices can do to us, हैन? So त्यो भावनाले चाहिँ I wanted to share in the book how I healed, how I rediscovered this and how it helped me. And मलाई यस्तो लाग्छ कि मेरो केसमा मात्र होइन कि क्यान्सरमा मात्र होइन कि even on a regular basis things that are in our kitchen can help us. Don't get me wrong, I do, you know, believe in pharmaceutical drugs. हाम्रै pharmaceutical छ हैन मलाई pharmaceutical drugs र medicine ले बचायो. तर at the same time if you have a mild sore throat and if you can just take अदुवा पानी or मह or बेसार हैन why not instead of just taking a strepsil हैन. So why do that? So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ मलाई अनि फेरि अर्को कुरा कस्तो हुँदो रहेछ भने बेसार कसरी खाने मेथी कसरी खाने त्यो सबै पनि हुँदो रहेछ कि which we don't know about हैन बेसारमा अलिकता कालो मरिच हाल्यो भने त्यसले 10 गुना काम गर्छ हैन सो त्यो सबै कुरा थाहा पाउनलाई चाहिँ जरुरी रहेछ so that's all I've shared in the book and you can literally just turn to the food section and look at the recipes अनि कुनै कुरा हामीले बिर्स्या छौं भने त्यो युज गर्नलाई it sort of can refresh हाम्रो memory कि ए हजुरआमाले यस्तो गर्नु हुँदै थियो मलाई यस्तो याद छ भनेर so I think it's very important to there's a reason why they did that हैन अनि अहिलेको जमानामा especially that with so much of pollution in the air so much of other things that are injected in like food and animals and everything right so for us to just be mindful and to know what we're eating and what we're consuming and the impact it has on our health is very important. I'm not saying I'm totally against processed food हैन कहिले एक प्याकेट चिप्स त कहिले खान मन लागिहाल्छ नि हैन तर कस्तो हुँदो रहेछ भने चाहिँ but I'm aware that whatever I'm having has no nutritional value. So अहिले चाहिँ म कस्तो भएको छु भने I feel like I'm a mindful eater हैन दिनमा मैले कुनै के खाए भने ए मैले आज nuts र seeds खाएको छैन भनेर I'll go get a bowl full of stuff or मैले 2-3 दिन भयो दाल खाएको छैन भने that's my main source of protein हैन because I don't eat a lot of meat so that's my main source of protein so I'll start getting on with it क्वाटी regularly बनाइराख्छु so I'm quite mindful about that and I think that's because of post-cancer. It would have never happened before. Paila, I was not so mindful about thinking about these things. Okay? So the fact that my recovery was so much better because of what I was eating, that made a very big difference. So हाम्रो जौलो and the amount of तागत है हाम्रो जाउलोमा हुने दाल भातको कुरा भयो अघि दाल भातमा कतिको त्यो हुन्छ भनेर so I think I'm a very big advocate on like Nepali दाल भात and khana and
good no good I'm glad I know my favorite is bhaji set I don't know if you like bhaji set or not
yes.
bhaji set मा चाहिँ त्यो एउटा complete package हुन्छ जस्तो लाग्छ के मलाई हुन्छ हैन चिउरा देखि लिएर त्यो बारा देखि लिएर अन्डा त्यो सबै थोक तामा आलु like we talked about earlier हैन that's my go to food as a good दिनमा हैन यो कस्तो हुँदो रहेछ भने हामीलाई केही नपरिन्जेलसम्म चाहिँ हामीले त्यो रियलाइज गर्दैनौँ के
त्यही नै हो
हैन what you went through is like it's a mountain that you conquered मैले यहाँबाट हेर्दाखेरि it's a mountain that you conquered हैन कतिजनालाई त्यो नपरिन्जेलसम्म चाहिँ हामीले त्यो फिलै गर्दैनौँ के त्यो पर्नु परेन नि त तर हैन अलि अगाडिदेखि नै हामीले अलिकति त्यतिर काम गरिरह्यौँ भने चाहिँ हैन if you start working towards like okay let me just go ahead and get one thing healthy or just go ahead and try to go ahead and do 30 minutes of exercise or just try to go ahead and stick with a slightly better diet or a slightly better friend circle maybe because mental health is way bigger than important. A lot of other things. The older you get, you kind of realize that. But the younger you are, like I'll give you an example. Big Vape भन्ने एउटा नेटफ्लिक्समा डकुमेन्ट्री हेरिरहेको छु कि मैले हैन म सेकेन्ड एपिसोड थर्ड एपिसोडमा पुगेँ हैन त्यो मार्केटिङ यसरी मार्केटिङ गरिन्छ कि यङ मान्छेहरूले चाहिँ च्याप्प त्यसलाई कसरी सोचौँ भनेर त्यो अहिले त झन् डिजिटल एजमा चाहिँ इट्स काइन्ड I'm not gonna be very एकदमै त्यो सुगर कोट गर्दिनँ म यसलाई हैन it's kind of it's not that hard.
Yeah.
If you have something very catchy and very addictive and then to get in front of a 18-year-old, I cannot say 16, I'm going to say 18-year-old, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's kind of easy. If you have a product which is like full of sugar, it's super nice.
Yeah.
It's super yummy, and then you can get it to somebody's hand, and then if you market it right, it's going to be in their hand, and they're going to come back for it.
Yes.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think that's where governments need to step in. Because consumers like थाहा पनि हुँदैन. To be honest, who knows that like processed food is bad for you? कसरी थाहा पाउने? And there's so much in this world today. It's hard. So I don't even blame the consumers. Any production गर्ने मान्छे production गर्छ because consume गर्नु पर्यो हैन. So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ it's like mindful भएर के खाने के नखाने त or like you said advertisement यसरी गरे हुन्छ कि it captivates everybody. So I think that's where I think we need big powerful governments and players to sort of step in and take a stand on this हैन.
If you want to sell sugar, that's completely okay with me, but at the same time make sure that there's a mechanism where people can go ahead and के भन्छ त्यसलाई त्यो सुगरलाई सेड गर्ने ठाउँ पनि त बनाइदिनु पर्यो नि त कसैले कार्ब्स टन्न खाइरहेछ भने त्यसलाई सेड गर्ने ठाउँ पनि त बनाइदिनु पर्यो नि त भन्ने चाहिँ मेरो थट प्रोसेस हो क्या यदि तिमी टन्न खाऊ त तिमी गएर दिनको 1 घण्टा एक्सर्साइज गर्नलाई तिमीलाई यहाँ ठाउँ छ है भन्ने वातावरण
गर्नु पर्यो absolutely
that's something that where we tend to go ahead and lack here okay अब UK कै एक्जाम्पल लिन्छु म ऋषि सुनाकले I'll come back to my point and it's we're talking about it ऋषि सुनाकले UK को प्रधानमन्त्रीले चाहिँ अस्ति भनेका रहेछन् कि हामी चाहिँ कस्तो मन पर्यो क्या मलाई यो कुरा हैन आज चुरोट कटौती गर्छौं सो दैट 3 जेनेरेसन पछि यो देशमा चुरोटै नहोस् भनेर UK is coming out with such a fantastic plan which New Zealand kind of already did हैन UK is coming out with this race हैन हेर ऋषि सुनाक र सिगरेट्स गरेर हैन you'll see this article X हैन जहाँ चाहिँ they've come out with such fantastic plans for young people they want to limit UK मा बडो चोट खान्छन् हैन त्यो मैले UK आफै जाँदाखेरि पनि मैले रियलाइज गरेको कुरा हैन अनि त्यसपछि अब यो जेनेरेसनले त प्रब्ली सकेनन् होला हैन like we are talking about it maybe screening ma if you create this awareness you're here today I already know that after meeting you that you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life right
I hope so yes
and then even if you change one single person like Ogina mentioned got asked to एकजना साथीले lump भेट्नु भयो भनेर भन्नु भने हैन so that's going to be that one person's impact is going to be enough for you to go ahead and do this all the time
yes
and sorry to say that cigarette thing is for me because I've already gone through it and I just want to touch base on this since we're talking about holistic living and then I want to jump into immunity because
sure
when the immunity is at the lowest I just want to understand I went through the book as well and I just want to understand what you did there you go Rishi Sunak considers banning cigarettes for the next generation okay
that's amazing
so we cannot talk about this generation like imagine if you want to implement because it's already embedded in our system हैन हामी भित्र त्यो बसिसक्यो नि त हैन त्यो तर अर्को जसले कहिले पनि प्रयासै गरेको छैन उसको लागि अलि तल जाऊ त यसको लागि they came out with a law okay with a law okay sorry Rishi Sunak is considering introducing some of the world's toughest anti-smoking measures that would in effect ban the next generation from ever being able to buy cigarettes right
yeah
and when I talk about it constantly बाटोमा मान्छेहरुले कुरा अरे दाइ यार दाइको अरे त चोट खानु हुँदैन दाइले त त्यो एडभोकेट गर्छ अरे खानु हुँदैन
that's a positive impact right
the kids hate me they'll probably thank me later even if they hate me now or hate me later I'm okay with it
yeah that's fine that's your purpose right like I mean that's the same with me as well I talk about cancer some people might not like it but I hope somebody just listens to my story and if I can help in any way that's your message heard
when did the article come out? The first article? What was the first article?
Oh yeah, the first article मेरो cancer भएको almost 2 वर्षपछि so about 6 years ago होला the first article I wrote for Nepali Times I had written it as let's talk about boobs but it was changed to let's talk about breasts because it was a little too powerful for our culture
boobs was a bit too much
a little too much so it was changed toned down a little bit Tara I think that's important right like some people may not like that I'm talking so frankly and about my personal experience with cancer and my breasts and my body parts but at the same time I think it's important that we do it's you can't please everybody in life that's another thing that you do your part and you just leave the rest
This is you?
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day?
Oh, it still says let's talk about boobs.
Good, that is.
I know.
Archive ma raisa na by times.
That's amazing, yeah.
I know, when you have to battle cancer at the age of 32, what do you do? Talk about it. That's so true. Is that yours?
No. It's just an image from, I think, that Nepali Times added to the...
I'm so dumb. What is it called again? Is it ultra...
Mammogram.
Mammogram. यस्तोमा चाहिँ म एकदम अस्ति I had to do an X-ray and I had to do an X-ray for my back and I was like, oh my, कति पछि X-ray गरेको थिएँ कि मैले I didn't want to do an X-ray के even mammograms I'm sure is definitely radioactive.
Oh no, it's radioactive and mammogram is very painful as well because it is a machine that you sort of place your breast in a way that it squeezes it and flattens it out in order to get the imaging right. So it's very, very painful when the directions and the way they do it.
Oh,
It's very, yeah. It's not a pleasant experience. It's not like X-ray.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know. I'm not even trying to. What you've gone through in your life, yeah.
No, I think all of us go through something. It's just that the difference is what we decide to do with it, I know, and what we decide to sort of, how we decide to live our life afterwards.
Yeah, as soon as we started talking, and the outlook, the outlook is सबसे ठुलो कुरा रहेछ नि हैन. अघिनको मा फेरि फर्केर जान्छु म हैन. If that's okay with you, when your immunity was the lowest, हुन्छ नि हैन. Your body talks to you नि.
Yes.
And your body does talk to you. जिउले त भन्छ नि त हैन कि म अब अहिले त म एकदमै कमजोर छु भनेर हैन. त्यो समयमा मेन्टल हेल्थलाई राइट ठाउँमा राख्नको लागि टिप्स एन्ड ट्रिक्स इफ एनी?
I mean, you just have to, first of all, मेरो एक्सपिरियन्समा चाहिँ के भयो भने when my immune system was the lowest, किन chemotherapy ko almost suruma your immune is high and then it drops down, and then that thing happens like maybe 6 or 7 days after, like 10 days after after your chemotherapy, and then it builds back up again. So त्यो तलको जुन dip छ, that's when you're very you're at a high chance of catching infection and your body is the weakest, हैन? बिरामी हुने chance. So त्यो बेलामा त मलाई लाग्छ I slept most of the time because I had no energy to wake up, हैन? So it was mostly just sleeping and not having any appetite. But I think I just constantly kept reminding myself I need to eat, I need to eat, I need to eat, because that's the only way I can get stronger. Because अरु केही छैन नि, you know, you just have to fuel your body. So I kept saying myself khao, and यस्तो पनि you know, you make a healthy meal and you're like, okay, म यो खान्छु, right? But then you can't appetite it at all. You have this nasty taste in your mouth, you have no appetite, your पेटमा खान मन लाग्दैन. There's tons of reasons, but anyways, त्यो हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ मैले के गर्थेँ भने I would literally tell मामु हुनुहुन्थ्यो there. I was so fortunate that they came down to take care of me, you know, for so many months. मेरो husband थियो. I used to ask them to make me food that I could just gulp it down in 1, 2, 3 नाक बन्द गरेर बच्चा जस्तै. But I was like, that's the only way I can eat. So I think that the constant reminder to myself that, you know, I need एक दुई दिनको कुरा हो, I think is what helped. And also the fact that I did journaling every day, हैन? And journaling every day भन्दाखेरि पनि I would write 3 good things that had happened to me every day, but it was not just like, oh, it's such a sunny day and I had a good day today. It was very, very specific, and especially when you're going through treatment, you can't find a lot of things that had happened during that day. So to be able to identify 3 very specific good points and to write them down. I used to put it right next to my bed, and the next morning I used to read that. So it was a self, putting myself into that positive state of mind for the next day all over again. मलाई यो 3टा त राम्रै कुरा भएर रहेछ नि त हिजो, you know, among everything that was happening to me. So I think that's how I sort of trained myself. I don't know if that helps with I also think you need to find something that works for you. मेरो experience when I talk about is what worked for me. I know food, medicine, everything. But at the same time, I think you need to find what works for you and your lifestyle or whatever. I know so many of my friends who went through cancer, they went and lived in the countryside because they preferred that. They preferred the nature, they liked the walk. मलाई चाहिँ फेरि त्यो गरेको भए I would have probably been depressed because I needed hustling, bustling thing around me. So I could forget that. So I was not alone. So I think everybody is different. Everybody has their own sort of preference of how they want to overcome and experience this time. So त्यो immune lowest हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ those were some of the things that I did, and the biggest was this will pass. It's just a matter of a few days. Because those lowest moments are also physically very tiring, energy हुँदैन. They tell you not to go out as well, so घरबाट बाहिर निस्किन मिल्दैन. So all of those things really make sort of an impact on you.
And the will to stay alive and the will to stay survive. Yes,
absolutely. Malai, every time I had that lowest moment, I would always say, let's stop this. I can't do it anymore. I'm not going for my next chemo. Not to my parents, but to my husband. I used to tell him this, and I'd be like, I don't care if I die. I'm not doing this. I can't do it anymore. Tara, again, in a day or two, it got better. And I was like, let's do this, you know.
This is going to be hard, hey? Maybe it is, hey? Worst thing to say to somebody who is fighting a battle with cancer? Worst thing to say. Worst thing to say.
To me,
Yeah.
somebody said, oh, you have the better kind of cancer. They were like, breast cancer ko ta testo naramro chaina ni.
यो मान्छे आई होप जिन्दगीमा छैन होला है छ भने निकालिहाल्यो हुन्छ के खाने हुन्छ
So that was one of the things that I thought was the worst thing to say. Arko would probably, sometimes it's, you know, like a lot of people say, hey, you're so strong, you can do this, without knowing me at all, or without, like, I hadn't even started my treatment. How do you know I'm going to be strong? Like, you know, what makes you say that I have to be strong? Sometimes it's okay not to be strong. I know, so that's also sort of like a borderline, but I wouldn't say that's the worst. Somebody has said to me, but I think something like that, or something like timro karma ko phal ho, timro past life ko, you know, karma ko u ho bhanera. So there are so many things that people can say.
Why am I asking this? Because कसैले कसैले सुनिरहेको होला होइन अनि कसैको जिन्दगीमा कोही न कोही यो नहोस् होइन हामीले भन्ने त्यही नै हो होइन नहोस् तर बाइचान्स भइहाल्यो भने यस्तो कुरा चाहिँ
नभन्नुहोस् हो एकदमै नभन्नु like I said, the best thing to say is I don't know what to say, I cannot understand what you're going through होइन तर if I can help in any way मलाई भन न भनेर. So I used to not talk to those friends at all होइन and randomly just send a message saying, do you want to go out for a movie? When I was feeling better. And they'd be like, yes, let's go. And we'd go out. So, you know, if they sort of sometimes let you be and understand your situation, because you have to realize that they are going through, like you said at the beginning, the worst experience of their lifetime, you know? One of the worst. त्यो बेलामा to be able to understand and give them that space is also important, right? And just be like, we're there for you, you know. If you ever need something, we're here. How can I help?
Yeah.
How can I help is also a great thing to say. How can I help? किन यस्तो हुँदो रहेछ when you're हाम्रो human nature कस्तो हुन्छ भने we don't want to ask for help. We don't want to seem vulnerable. We don't want to show that we were in pain and you know we were vulnerable and we cried and you know so we don't want to say all of that. But if somebody says, can I help? How can I help? Then eventually you tend to say, oh, can you just, you know, grab a pizza from this place for me? I feel like eating that today or something like that. And they'll gladly do it, okay? Because that's their way of sort of showing love and helping us in some way or another. So, yeah, those are just a few things that you should and should not say.
Yeah, I just want this to be a thing that I can go ahead and use as well. That's why I do this podcast.
No, fair enough. हो थाहा हुँदैन.
मैले पनि भुलमा कतिचोटि भनेको छु होला मेरो साथीहरूको फ्यामिली मेम्बर्सलाई गाह्रो पर्दाखेरि तँलाई I'll give you example. मैले एकजना साथीले तँलाई के चाहियो मलाई भने भनेर भनेको थिएँ उसले मलाई रातिको 12 बजे फोन गरेको थियो होइन उसले त्यो प्रब्लली कम्फर्टेबल फिल गरेर फोन गर्यो होला होइन एकछिन आइदिएन मलाई कफी लिन कस्तो इन्सिडेन्ट छ कि होइन आई होप माई फ्रेन्ड्स ओके विथ मी सेयरिङ दिस होइन उसले मलाई राति फोन गरेँ क्या एकछिन हस्पिटल आइज न भनेर उसले भन्यो होइन अनि मैले हुन्छ भनेर म हस्पिटल गएँ होइन मलाई कफी लिन जानु छ भनेर भन्यो कि उसले होइन मैले हुन्छ भनेर भने म गएँ म बसेँ होइन अनि त्यसपछि जो बिरामी हुन्थ्यो म उहाँसँग बसेँ अनि त्यसपछि ऊ तल गएर कफी लिन गएँ क्या सो कतिचोटि एउटा एक कप कफी लिने मान्छे पनि हुँदैन क्या कोहीसँग अस्पतालमा उसले कम्फर्टेबल फिल गर्यो त्यसैले त उसले बोलायो नि होइन कति होला कुनै जिन्दगीको यो मोडमा म 36 पुग्न आएँ म आइएम अबाउट टु टर्न 37 होइन मैले गरेको थिएन होला क्या त्यो अरूको लागि होइन सो मेबी त्यो मेरो भुल पनि हुनसक्ला होइन अथवा प्रब्ली आई वाज नाइभ प्रब्ली आई वाज डम एट द मोमेन्ट प्रब्ली आई डिडन्ट नो हाउ टु हेल्प एट द टाइम बट आई एम ग्ल्याड द्याट आई कुड हेल्प माई फ्रेन्ड यु नो एन्ड इन द फ्युचर आई प्रब्ली क्यान हेल्प मोर फ्रेन्ड्स एज वेल थाहा हुँदैन नि
फेरि यस्तो हुँदो रहेछ यस्तो मोमेन्टमा जसको मेसेज आउँछ friends that sort of, you know, truly care for you, or just even say the simplest and nicest thing, you tend to be forever grateful. मलाई कति जनाको messagesहरू आयो which अहिलेसम्म I have so much more respect and appreciation for the kind of person they are just because they sent that one message. होइन त्यो बेलामा के मलाई त्यो परेको बेलामा. So I think my attitude towards them changed. And again, like I say, it was a good way to filter things out as well, right? Not everybody who said the wrong things are, they're still in my life because they don't know what to say. They don't know the right thing to say, के अब कसैले मलाई के पनि भन्यो भने ओ तिमी यस्तो राम्री छौ तिमीलाई कसरी भयो क्यान्सर. It's like what?
Sorry, Suvekchya. Some friends you gotta let go, man. Some friends you gotta let go. I'm sorry. I'm a big believer. के म जमानामा पढाएको थिएँ होइन. I'm a big believer in this. कि कोही साथीहरू जिन्दगीभर जीवनभर बस्छन् होइन. मेरो त्यो 3टा साथी छन् जुन साथी जीवनभर बस्छन् regardless of जे गरे पनि. कोही चाहिँ 4-5 वर्षमा फिल्टर आउट गर्नुपर्छ के. I'm sorry.
तर यस्तो हुँदो रहेछ. Even after that, like, you know, my sort of attitude towards them is they didn't know what to say. And now I'm not like, maybe I might not be best friends with them. Tora, at the same time, I don't mind. I don't mind it at all. I don't care. त्यो स्टेजमा पुगिसक्यो where I'm just like, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me at all. So no matter what they say, त्यतिखेर चाहिँ it did affect me, होइन? Because I was vulnerable and I was त्यस्तो. तर अहिले, through my experience, through my change in attitude, through my hopefully that, you know, the steps I'm doing to make me mentally strong as well, होइन? It does not matter. It just does not matter.
Good for you.
And people find it hard to believe that I'm saying this because it's hard to actually say that I have reached that point.
No, good for you. And you've reached a point of zen. And I hope you stay right.
Maybe
here.
not yet, but...
Your friends can hate me. I'm completely okay with that. I don't know. That's completely I got bigger problems in life. Sorry to say. Food, if you had to recommend, होइन यो अघि नै आफूले भन्दाखेरि मैले रियलाइज गरेँ कि म पनि यसको दोषी चाहिँ हो होइन. म पनि एउटा के अरे घाँटी दुख्यो भने पप्प एउटा के अरे ट्याब्लेट खाने मान्छे परेँ म पनि होइन. बेसार खोज्न म जान्न होइन. मन छ तर त्यो के भन्नु त्यसलाई म कन्भिनियन्स हेर्छु कि होइन. त्यो 5वटा कुरा खोज्नुभन्दा एउटा कुरा खोजेर क्वाप मुखमा हाल्ने खाले मान्छे म पनि हो होइन. I'm not the best person to talk about diet right now. Phase हुँदो रहेछ कि मेरो चाहिँ त्यो फेजमा छु म अहिले होइन. But at least try to go and run. When we were texting again, I was practically running. That's why I mentioned take your time.
Right.
I tried to do my 1 hour. होइन.
Yeah.
What kind of recommendations would you want to give to people who are listening right now, Sunny, to keep that balance between the FMCG food and between the non-FMCG food, which is Ayurvedic,
right.
but alikati huncha ni, the food that we can that we don't tend to go ahead and eat more. Okay? Curry section mein
Right. I think you need to find a good balance, hey? To be honest, we have to live a life, and food is a very big part of our life, our culture, you know. So, yo khanu, tyo na khanu ma bhandina, but at the same time, to find the right balance to eat whole food, seasonal food, you know. Raw, अब हप्ताको 5 दिन म बाहिर खाछु भने when I eat at home, try and eat healthier. So त्यही नै हो. I try, like, at the end of the day, just try that balance and see what works for you and what can sort of help you feel better. Because मैले चाहिँ कस्तो भइसक्यो भने I am a living example of someone who अहिले paracetamol only works on me for very, very mild pain. मेरो chemotherapy गरेको बेलामा I took so much paracetamol, त्यो पनि 1000 mg, होइन, that अहिले I can only take it for mild pain, like a mild headache or a mild pain. त्यो मलाई strong medicine चाहिने भइसक्यो के. So I'm an example of somebody who, if you take too much medicine, होइन, you have to keep increasing the strength. And अहिले, if I do take paracetamol, it'll be very rare. Like, एक दिन पुरा दिन टाउको दुख्छ, and then I'll try natural things, and then I'll sleep it off, and I wake up in the morning, and if it's still there, I'll have paracetamol. But if it's not there, then I'll just go by, you know. So I think I'm that living example. I have experienced it. तर अरूहरूले experience गरेको हुँदैन त्यो, होइन. त्यो so it's hard to explain to them how serious that is, होइन. So all I say is, you know, a little bit of like reconnection with your food with what's in our kitchen, if you know that yo khaepachi malai pet यसरी दुख्छ or something, just chew on some, saunf or, have some ginger ale, homemade or otherwise. I mean, I know it has a lot of sugar, but still try to know how your body works. Again, this is going back to, recognizing how your body works. So I would love to say, oh no, you should eat right and you do this and do that.
You cannot draw a line.
I can't, because we are living in a world where it's like we're traveling, right? We don't have time for a meal. We don't have. We're living in a very stressful and demanding world, Nita. So I think we need to keep that in mind as well, and also at the same time, just at the end of the day, see what works for you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is such an interesting thing that you said. I'm not the kind of person who takes medicine, tablets. I avoid it. Even paracetamol, I avoid it. Unless I get dengue and then I gotta fucking live. So I had only heard about this. Less knowledge is dangerous. I had only heard about this, that bacterial infection भयो भने धेरै antibiotics लिइरह्यो भने चाहिँ त्यो हुन्छ भनेर paracetamol को मैले first time सुनिरहेको.
मलाई भयो.
I didn't realize that. मलाई थाहा नै थिएन यो.
Yeah. Antibiotics-हरुको पनि हुन्छ, धेरै औषधिको त्यस्तै हुन्छ. So I think I have experienced it with paracetamol. Antibiotics मैले लिएँ, तर generally धेरै antibiotics लिएको छैन लाइफ टाइममा. सो त्यसले गर्दाखेरि मलाई त्यस्तो थाहा भएन. But paracetamol is something that we take so regularly.
Exactly, मैले त्यही भन्न लागेको.
त्यो भएर चाहिँ मलाई नोटिस भयो कि. So few months, last year I had a wisdom tooth removed and the doctor just prescribed paracetamol. I was in the worst pain ever. I had to go back to him to get a high dose of another medication to help with my pain. And he was also surprised, and I had to explain to him the whole history of why 1,000 mg paracetamol doesn't work for me anymore. So I'm a living example of that, and I want to avoid that for people I know, I love, and so I'm constantly talking about this, and I'm constantly telling people. मेरो छोरीलाई अहिले रुगा खोकी लाग्दाखेरि मैले तोरीको तेलमा मेथी पुराएर ज्वानो फिराएर छातीमा लगाइदिन्छु हैन. बेसार with जाइफल, ल्वाङ, सुकमेल, अलैँची हालेर एउटा पाउडर बनाएर हनीमा राखेर सिसीमा राखेर पर्मानेन्टली हुन्छ मेरो किचनमा. सो त्यसको एक चम्चा लिएर पानीमा चिया बनाए पनि हुन्छ हैन, if you don't have the time to do it, or एक चम्चा खाएर सुत्न गए पनि हुन्छ, right? So you can make those things work for you. It's just that somebody very interestingly said this to me. She said, your body is like a Bugatti or a Ferrari. Okay? You don't want to put cheap fuel into it. Yeah. And so you can. That was the comparison that she had, and that really stuck to me. And I was like, we do put a lot of cheap stuff into it, right? Yeah. Which doesn't have any nutritional value. In fact, will have negative impact on our system. So, त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ I try to talk to people. I try to tell them. Also things like, dairy and masu and this and that. It's like, I don't have anything against it. But also at the same time, like, हाम्रो cultureमा हैन दूधमा calcium हुन्छ, खानै पर्छ भन्छ नि. And I try to tell people, it's like, after a certain age, do they digest गर्दैन humanले, right? So मेरो घरमा पनि, my dad used to force my mom, के दूध खाऊ राम्रो हुन्छ हड्डीलाई भनेर. अहिले now that stopped. That mentality has changed. So I'm slowly trying to change everybody's sort of attitude towards food. And मेरो एकजना aunt पनि, she's a very big advocate on nutrition, Dr. Aruna Upreti. So she's my mom's sister. So we really sort of align well in this aspect, and she's a lot knowledgeable than I am, so I keep asking her for advice. And तर मलाई चाहिँ मेरो यो first hand experience भएको भए हुनाले it's been so impactful, okay? And I want to share that with people. Because like you said, नभएसम्म हामीलाई केही थाहा हुँदैन, के पनि हुँदैन, के इम्पोर्टेन्स चाहिँ हुँदैन नि, लाइफको इम्पोर्टेन्स हुँदैन, खानेकुराको इम्पोर्टेन्स हुँदैन. We'll still continue, and I'm sure a lot of people who will still listen to me or I talk to today, will still go back to the same way, okay, and will not change anything. But at the same time, if even just 1% of the listener or people I speak with, or like मेरो घरमै भए पनि, if that change comes, and that's a positive impact. And I think that's what we all should aim for.
Yeah, and that's what you're aiming for, and we're game for that. And thank you so much for coming. अङ्ग्रेजीमा छ, नेपालीमा छ, हैन, अनि अब के अरे बर्मिजमा पनि बर्मिज भाषामा पनि छ, के भन्छ बर्मिज भाषालाई?
Burmese. Yeah.
हैन, बर्मिजमा पनि छ, हैन. So it's are you going to Myanmar?
No, I'm not. Unfortunately, situation राम्रो छैन त्यहाँ, so I couldn't go for the launch of the book. तर whoever's read the book, just so है मान्छेहरूलाई really great support from everyone, and whatever money that is comes from the book, all of it goes to cancer people, to help cancer recovery or for their treatment. So whoever's read the book also has, they've said that it's helped them in some way or another, and I just want to continue that. I want to continue my work to raise awareness, and there were a group of kids read my book as a part of their book club. So the 13-14 वर्षको बच्चाहरू, and that was a very very emotional moment for me, and I thought that is where I can start making changes. त्यो सिगरेटको कुरा गरे जस्तै के न्यू जेनेरेसनको लागि. So hope that if I can help anybody in any way possible, that is what my aim is right now.
No, fantastic, and what you're doing is amazing. And on this process, if we can help out more, please let us know, and we'll be more than happy to go ahead and do that. Buy the book wherever it's available. कहाँ पाइन्छ?
So Ratna Pustak Bhandar, Pilgrims, major bookstoresहरूमा छ. कसैले पढ्यो भने पनि मलाई personally message पनि गर्नुभयो हुन्छ. There's a way to, and for people who are outside of Nepal, it's available on Amazon.
Oh, there you go.
It's available on Barnes and Nobles. It's available on Waterstone online. Sabai online cha. So when you order, you'll receive the book within a week. Within Nepal ma चाहिँ Nepali ko र English books are available in some of these bookstores.
Fantastic. Keep sharing your story. And then inspire a lot of young people.
Thank you.
A lot of young people.
No, thank you for having me here.
Kanzakari and Me is out. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Suvekchya, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Awesome.
This program is brought to you by Vias Studios.